Andreas, you've written many books. One of them makes the riveting claim that cancer is not a disease, that it's a survival mechanism. Could you talk about that a little bit?
That's a very, very fascinating question because it doesn't just include the topic of cancer, but basically every kind of disease, or what we call disease. In my opinion, disease is not really something that needs to be destroyed because it is part of the body's mechanism to heal itself, to become whole again. And so when the body is out of balance, that means it has lost its homeostasis. It will try to go back to that, and we call that disease. Now, when you go out into nature and you look at a plant, for example, a flower, and you see it is withering, you wouldn't say that's a disease. You would say, well, there's a lack of water that is not allowing the sap to nourish all the leaves, and they start dying off.
So that's the symptoms that we're looking at.
That is a symptom. So to call the symptom of a disease is really very misleading, to say the least. It is in fact so misleading that when you treat it, you think you get rid of the disease, and yet the underlying cause is still intact. So in the case of cancer, the cancer itself is a compensation mechanism that the body is coming up with in order to deal with an underlying condition of a contamination or a lack of nourishment, nutrients,
toxins.
Something that is not right. That is just like the flower, it's withering away. So some parts of the body are dying off, and the body is trying to prevent that from happening. And so there are many, many compensation mechanisms. I would say there are about 44,000 of them, which is the
Really?
number of diseases that we have registered. So many different kinds of symptoms of diseases are now known to affect human
and they're not diseases, they're survival mechanisms.
Yes.
A tumor is not something that's malignant and out to get you.
No, it's not there to destroy you. It's not a vicious animal that is attacking you and trying to kill you, because if it kills you, it will kill itself too. And there's no organism in nature that is suicidal.
So it's like, why would this tumor do this to you? That's not the way to look at it.
No, one has to take it further. You have to ask the question, why would the body allow a tumor to grow? And what is the purpose of the tumor? Rather than thinking that, oh, there's something wrong, it looks abnormal, it's something that the body normally doesn't do, and therefore it is a disease. That's very far-fetched, that's middle-aged thinking. This has nothing to do with the reality of the matter, that for every symptom there is a cause. And if you look at the cause, why the body would be tempted or prompted to heal itself, what we call illness, then that is a very legitimate and very natural appearance or occurrence. So to suppress the illness would basically prevent the body from healing itself, and that's why we have such severe side effects when you treat a symptom, when you relieve a symptom. And there is no cure promised by modern medicine. They don't use the word cure, for a very good reason, because they know they cannot cure something when they try to attack or suppress the symptom of a disease. But again, it's like watering the leaves of a flower or plant, just sprinkling some water on top of the leaves doesn't make the leaves any better. You have to go to the root and water the root so that the flower and the plant can regenerate itself and restore itself. So it doesn't have to, the symptoms don't have to be treated.
The symptoms do not have to be treated.
No, you have to go away from the symptom. It's just like saying, well, darkness is a culprit for so many problems, because you step out in the dark, you may fall, you may break your leg, and then you blame the darkness. But darkness doesn't exist. It's the absence of light.
So you've been blaming a situation that's developed in your body when it's really telling you something very important.
It is. It's a message that the body, a signal that the body is sending us. Pain, for example, it just shows there is an obstruction, there is a battle inside the body. The body is trying to remove something, and it uses chemicals like histamines, which when they pass over pain nerves, they signal pain to the brain, And histamines are water-regulating hormones. So what they do is they bring more water to an area that is dehydrated or congested. Whenever there's a blockage, there's dehydration in the area. So it requires water to help remove the blockage.
Okay.
So the pain itself is not a disease. And so cancer cannot be a disease, because if you understand the mechanism behind what causes cancer, then we are arriving at a point where we can actually deal with it, and we can remove the root causes of the cancer, and then we don't have to worry so much about the effect of the cancer.
Okay, sometimes that's obvious, the root cause. It could be something as obvious as smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to do a little more research to find out what's causing it, correct?
Right.
But still, you look at the whole picture.
Yes, you have to trace it back, and again, there are many different cancers. There are as many cancers as there are people who have cancer. You will never find one cancer identical to another. They will always be different. Just like diabetics, you will never find the same type diabetes, even though we call it type 2 or type 1 diabetes. But every person is different and has a different kind of diabetes. So there are, we are sort of making categorizations about illnesses that are not holding true. And every person has a different responsiveness to making changes to the diet and lifestyle. And therefore, you cannot really say, well, one thing works for everyone. But there are some basic things, such as sleep and sunshine and eating more balanced foods or natural foods that are now recognized to be actually fundamental to preventing cancer and actually curing cancer.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.